Hello, Child here. He calls me Child, Dusty Rose. Last double whammy for now. Dumbing Us Down and Weapons of Mass Instruction by John Taylor Gatto. It's been a while since I've read these, so actually I'm going to have to go off of some old notes that I wrote about my impressions of the books. These are both treatises on the topic of school versus education and the difference between schooling and education. I feel like the person who wrote this is pretty qualified to talk about it because John Taylor Gatto was a school teacher in the New York City school districts for 30 years, an award-winning school teacher. And these books, more than anything, read like his confession and his apology to the world. I mean, you can practically hear him begging for forgiveness in every chapter. If I had to tell you the difference between the two, Dumbing Us Down is more a collection of speeches and essays. It's the concise version. It is the short, sweet, very punchy. It's just over a 4-hour read aloud. Weapons of Mass Instruction feels like his thesis work. I haven't read his other works, but this is the expanded version with more details, more stories, more arguments, more history. So I was on the road actually setting up and preparing for my wedding when I got a Discord call from my husband-to-be at the time, and he had found a book that had absolutely rattled him to the core, and it was Dumbing Us Down. He and I were both what you would call good students in the educational system, although his was a lot more standard than mine. And he said that he'd read this and that it described his schooling experience and had kind of flipped the tables on his understanding of what had happened during that time. And he said, and you have to read this. You have to read this. And it's very rare when he tells me that I have to read something. So I read it, and it freaked me out too. These books don't have as much meaning to me as they do to my husband. It was very interesting to separate the concepts of schooling and education and how schooling is actually harmful and education can be found anywhere. It did flip the tables on my understanding a bit, although my schooling was much less standard. I mean, I was purely homeschooled for a long time, and then I went into homeschooling groups. I did a year of online school. I did a summer school at a public school, and I did a couple college courses, and then I was a scholarship kid at a private school, and then I went into a college, and then I failed out of the college, and my schooling was all over the map. But I still recognized a lot of the things in these books, and they really made me think differently about this. And I think after reading these, I started to wonder, maybe I don't need to go back to college and finish a degree to learn things that are important. Maybe I can learn myself. Maybe I could design my own educational curriculum for myself in the areas I want to learn and grow in. Is that a thing? Is that a thing I can do? I'm sure it is. Well, I'm sure now, but back then I was like, can I actually do that? So it felt like these books gave me the permission to do that. I also felt like I had permission to not be so ashamed of myself because I didn't finish college. That's a whole long story that frankly shouldn't go in a video like this, but I had struggled a lot with the shame of not being able to finish. This book made me feel a lot less ashamed. With that shame kind of kicking the bucket, I then was able to go, okay, so what could I do about my education if I didn't want to go back to college? So these are a pair of books that really challenged my thinking, really changed the way I saw the world, and that's why I think they're important, and that's why they're on my channel.